Hey everyone, it's Tori, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, I'm setting up my bullet journal for January 2023. As always, I'm starting out with a flip through of last month, and actually for last month it was in a totally different journal, and I have just set up this one for 2023. I will have this setup video linked in the cards and down below if you are interested. For setting up my yearly spreads, I actually broke it up into parts 1 and 2, so don't forget to watch both videos if you want to see the full setup. When it came to my theme for January, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I had asked my mom, who said maybe do like a hot chocolate theme. I'd asked my boyfriend, who said do like a snowflake theme. So my overall theme for this month is cozy winter. I will have all my markers and pens and even my notebook linked down below, and actually for my notebook, I have an Archer and Olive discount code if you would like to use it. It is CMCG10 for 10% off your order. We are hopping right into the cover page, and for those of you who have been following me since last year, you know I did gnomes for every single month last year, and you might not see a gnome sketched in for this page, and I am not doing gnomes at least this month. I put out a poll on Instagram in my community tab, and it was pretty almost 50-50, but for the most part, people just wanted for me to do what I wanted in my journal. If I wanted to do gnomes, to do them, but honestly, I really wanted to try something new and go back to just doing a regular cover page and make my journal more functional, at least for this month. So if you are a little bit upset that I am not doing gnomes this month, I do have gnome plans, so please do not worry. They will be coming back at some point this year. So after addressing that elephant in the room, let's start talking about this cover page. I found an inspiration picture on Pinterest of this really aesthetically pleasing looking white hot chocolate, but in all honesty, I'm not sure if this is actually hot chocolate in my journal or if it's just a really pretty coffee. I really have no idea what this is. Even my boyfriend told me it looked like a milkshake, so it's just a really cozy looking drink. I love how this turned out. I really tried to actually recreate the picture, not just take inspiration. So I will have that picture that I took inspiration and recreation ideas from on the screen here if you are interested in what it looked like. I really loved the neutral colors and the watercolor look of this. I tried to achieve that watercolor look with my water-based markers, these tombows. It didn't really come out as great as I thought it was going to, but from far away, it definitely looks fine. This is also a completely different art style than what I'm used to. I tried to do a lot more blending, and I even took out my N00 tombow to try to blend out these markers, even though you can kind of see me wiping it away when I'm trying to blend it out. The paper started coming up from underneath, which is not a great thing, but I think I achieved the aesthetic I was going for, so I'm pretty happy with how this cover page turned out overall. I also decided to add the word January really small in the bottom corner because I didn't want the header to take over that hot chocolate. I wanted that to be the more prominent feature of the cover page. And then we are doing something completely different than what I've ever done in my bullet journal, and I am chopping this cover page into a Dutch door. I measured out about 2/3 of the page of this journal, and then I drew a line so I could cut out the last third, and I'm using this X-Acto knife to cut around that part of the hot chocolate that's going to be sticking out onto the next page. I rarely use an X-Acto knife because it honestly stresses me out cutting out pages in my bullet journal, but I had this vision of this hot chocolate piece right in the center and then doing a pretty periwinkle plaid design behind it. I am very, very glad I decided to go with this vision and kind of put my anxiety about X-Acto knives aside because I think it turned out so well. So I did think about where that plaid was going to go, but unfortunately, I don't know why it skipped my mind that I was going to be cutting out 1/3 of the page of my journal, and it just completely chopped off the entire calendar I had underneath, so I had to pencil it all in again. But honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a pretty quick fix, all things considered. But yes, I am doing a calendar in my bullet journal, and we are actually moving on to something I'm calling my dashboard on the side of my cover page. If you missed my 2023 bullet journal setup, then you might not know that I am going back to monthlies and weeklies in addition to trackers inside my bullet journal this year. So this is just a space for me to write events going on throughout the month, a long to-do list for everything I want to get done during the month, and even a place to write my focus, which has something to do with goal setting and like the action steps I'm going to take. I always make goals in the beginning of the year and I put my goals right in the front of my journal, and then I never actually end up looking at them again, so I'm hoping that this little focus area is going to help me try to attain those goals. And also, to go along with this cozy winter theme, I have these little mittens on the side that I am doing in the same periwinkle plaid that will go right next to my hot chocolate on the calendar page side. With my new dashboard and my cover page complete, we are now moving on to my calendar page. Before moving on to the actual calendar itself, I am going to finish the elements of that Dutch door I was doing for the cover page. So I'm taking my Tombow dual brush pen in 553, I'm pretty sure it is. It's this really pretty periwinkle. And I went about 10 dot grid spaces in towards the center, and I'm making this really simple plaid pattern with both the brush pen side and the fine tip side. And I'm flipping my cover page back and forth so you can see how it looks on the cover page and on the calendar page itself. I think I really like the look of this, and I honestly might do it every single month this entire year, do some sort of Dutch door cover page and have a pattern underneath. I'm not going to hold myself to that, but I do think it's a really great way to spice up my bullet journal this year. And now I am making the simplest monthly layout ever. I just have January written in my cursive handwriting, and then I'm making this simple grid layout. I'm pretty sure it is 5 spaces down and 4 spaces across. I was going to do 5 and 5, but like you saw before, it just didn't fit with that extra Dutch door cutout. And then for the numbers on the calendar, I use my N89 Tombow to just draw one line across the top of the rectangle and write all the numbers. The days of the week are also really simple with this periwinkle in the background. And then I kind of just called this spread a day. I just wanted it to be functional. It is pretty, but I was more worried about the functionality of this since this is my first calendar in my bullet journal in about a year and a half. I ended up adding some washi tape to this spread off camera, and if you want to see how that came out, you can check out my Instagram at Creative Minds Coffee Grinds, where I'll be posting pictures of this setup throughout January. And I'm just flipping my cover page back and forth because I am just obsessed with how this turned out. And now we are going to move on to my weekly spreads, which I have already done most of them off camera, but I'm going to show you how they look with these stickers I got from Pretty Little Studio. This is an Etsy shop I found from Instagram actually, and she is seriously like so kind and so talented. I got a lot of her sticker packs from the Black Friday sale, and I would highly recommend her sticker shop if you want to check it out. I will have her regular website and her Etsy shop linked down below if you want to look at all her amazing stickers. The sticker kits I'm featuring in this video are the Ring in the New Year kit. The stickers you see on the screen right now is from the Snow Day kit, and for my next weekly I am using the Buffalo Plaid kit, and most of these are journaling kits which only have a couple pages, but honestly they fill up the entire weekly spread amazingly, so I am obsessed with how all of these sticker kits turned out in my journal. And I do want to say a little bit of a disclaimer. I did buy these all myself. Pretty Little Studios is not asking me to say this or feature her shop in her video. So this video is not sponsored. She didn't gift me these products. I bought them all myself, and I will continue to buy her products in the future. And something I'm going to continue to do with my weekly spreads that I used to do in my Happy Planner, I really want to deck out these spreads with stickers, especially from small shops. I just think it's a really great way to support other creators and use their own artwork in my journal. And I am also not going to worry about the themes of the weeklies matching the rest of like my trackers and that kind of stuff. It's just going to be a way for me to have fun with stickers and really enjoy my bullet journal off camera, which sometimes I don't get to do because I pretty much film everything inside my bullet journal. But after that taking a really long time to explain, we are now hopping into my habit tracker, which you may have noticed I have already drawn all my habit grids as well as my gratitude gratitude log off camera just to let this video go by a little bit faster because it is a long one. The layout of my habit tracker really isn't something that's completely different than what I usually do. Sometimes I will switch up the habit grids for like 10 spaces across, 3 spaces down with 1 extra on 31-day months, but I pretty much just flip-flop back and forth between that layout and this layout that you're seeing on the screen here, which basically just mimics the January calendar. At the bottom of the habit tracker, I'm just drawing a bunch of these candles to go along with that cozy winter vibe, and that is pretty much the spread complete. We are now moving on to my gratitude log, and as you can see, I have gone back to a layout that I used to do in the beginning of 2022. I've truly missed this layout that was originally made by Tracy Tyler Revel here on YouTube. I just have space for 1 grid space every single day to write one thing I'm grateful for, and I usually switch up the font to like a cursive font or a bubble letter font. I just try to get creative with this spread, and I have this little sock down here to go along with the cozy winter theme again, and that is this spread complete. We are now moving on to my anxiety tracker. In 2022, I started adding my stressors into my left side of my anxiety tracker, and for this year, I am also going to add in a spot for health. So I usually track my health in my year-long spread, which is at the beginning of my journal, but when I'm saying things like, oh, migraine or sick, I can't really have a space for me to write down exactly what's going on, so that is what this spread is going to help me track. So every single day, I have space to write down my stressors of the day, any health concerns or anything for the day, just in this simple list style format. On the right side, I have my actual anxiety tracker itself, and if you're new here, I set my anxiety tracker up like one would set up a mood tracker. So for this month, I have 31 little snow doodles, whether it's like a regular snowball, I guess, or a snowflake. I'm going to color one in each day based on how high my anxiety gets, which goes along with my key at the bottom of the snow globe. So now we're just coloring everything in on the snow globe, and I am going to be getting to my key in just a second, but those 4 snowflakes at the bottom of the snow globe are going to mark the colors I'm going to color the snowflakes based on how high my anxiety gets. So we have none all the way to the left, a little anxiety, a lot of anxiety, and the last side is panic for panic attack. I don't actually write in like none, a little, a lot, and panic really anymore. I just do it based on smiley faces. Honestly, I don't really even need the smiley faces because I've been doing these anxiety trackers the same way for so long. I just know that for this case, from left to right, it is least amount of anxiety to most amount, but sometimes I do it from like top to bottom, which is least amount of anxiety at the top and most amount of anxiety at the bottom. But I still include it because I do think it's helpful for people who are stumbling across my channel for the first time and don't really know how I set up my anxiety tracker, so I'm just going to keep my little key headers and smiley faces in for that reason. After putting numbers 1 through 31 on all these little bits of snow, we are now moving on to my reading tracker. For the next couple spreads, I am actually not adding any doodles in. I just want these spreads to be purely functional because I usually take up pretty much the entire space. So for my reading log, I just have 1 through 31 down the side, and then at the top I have 0 through 100 because this is how I track how far along I am in my audiobooks. I do a horizontal bar graph for this reading tracker, and if you want to see all that filled in and if you're a little confused on how I fill it in, you can check out my 2022 bullet journal flip through, which will be in the cards. As for my content planner, which is over here on the right side, I am tracking what I'm posting every single day on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. For the last spread I'm sharing in this monthly setup, I am going to show my month in review, which looks completely different than what I usually do, and I am very excited to show you what I came up with this month. I've been stuck in the same monthly review setup for about 2 years now, and I knew going into 2023 I needed to do something different because this was my favorite spread to fill out at the end of every single month, and it just wasn't doing it for me anymore because it was so repetitive with the layout. So this is what I came up with for this month. Prior to setting up this bullet journal, I did a deep dive on Instagram and Pinterest to try to find a new month in review layout to do. And this one I'll put on the screen right here is the one that most closely matches to what I did and what I took the most inspiration from. And then I ended up taking a 2-day break from this voiceover, and now I have COVID. So if you're wondering why my voice has changed, now sound a little bit more stuffy, we are kind of stuck with this for the rest of the video, so I apologize. But back to the January in review, I have a space that says remembering, which mimics what I used to have for memories last year. I still have space in these little cloud bubbles that I'm going to write highlights from the month, and even a big blank space where I'm going to put my favorite picture from that month in the form of a Polaroid. I have a listening to space where I'm going to put my favorite songs or podcasts. In the watching space, I have a place for me to write my favorite movie, TV show, and YouTube channel of the month. And then I also have space for 3 books, which I usually read about 3 to 4 books every single month. And all of these things have been in my monthly review in the past, but I'm also adding in something brand new to this setup, which you see me creating right now. This is a bar graph that you might have seen in my inspiration picture where I plan on rating different areas of my life each month on a scale from 1 to 10. And those categories I'm going with as of right now are health, mind, work, social, finance, and overall. I know I'm not explaining this the best, but I want to be able to use it for this month and let you know how it goes. So updates about this graph will come in my February Plan With Me video later. And that last part on the bottom left is a place for me to write everything I've loved throughout the entire month that didn't fit in any of the other categories. But now we are hopping into my final flip through portion of today's video, and I want to encourage you all to comment a coffee or hot chocolate emoji down in the comments below if you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It truly means a lot. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe while you're here. Also, don't forget to check out my bullet journal Instagram at Creative Minds Coffee Grinds, and also my bullet journal TikTok, which is at Creative Mind Coffee Grinds without the S. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!